Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am the Badass Buddha, also known as Dr. Lori Monaco, and welcome to Live Long and Prosper, the series, the short series, helping you get back on track with your life and your health and your well-being. And welcome. I am going to give a few moments for people to jump on. I am also going to go ahead and be able to check the channel to see who's commenting so that I can get their questions answered if they have any. So hopefully they will have some. And I'm going to go ahead and share. So those of you that are viewing, please go ahead and share and start a watch party because this information is really, really good. And I would love for you all to, get healthier, live a better life, live long and prosper. I mean, I'm not saying that just to say, hey, I just like that term. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm preoccupied trying to get this all straightened out. So let me get this online, get this rocking and rolling and moving. And then we're going to talk about some health because I have quite a lot of experience on health, especially not taking care of yourself, which is what I did for quite a long time. So let me just get us going here and let's say live now. Okay, there we go. All right, so welcome. Why am I doing this series? I'm doing this series for several reasons. I am a chiropractic physician by trade. I am also an authenticity teacher, speaker, and coach. My business, Align Yourself, Inc., teaches what are called the 7 core pillars of transformation. And that is that if we achieve abundance in our life and be happy, we need to align 7 core pillars within ourselves. And those 7 core pillars are our mental, emotional states, our physical state, physiological state, social state, spiritual state, and our financial state. And if each of those can be in alignment, we will find bliss. We will find our bliss. You might have 4 of the 7 aligned. You might have 5 of the 7 aligned, but we trade off on others. So, for instance, Steve Jobs is a perfect example. He's an individual who had a phenomenal mind, brilliance, made a lot of money, but he couldn't buy his health. Now, did he do anything that might have contributed to his health issues? It's possible, absolutely possible. So, it's not just enough to make money. We want to feel better. We want to feel good. So that being said, I have created a bunch of programs to help assist you in creating a better life for yourself. And my journey started with a mental and emotional shift, which then finally led to a spiritual shift for me. And then it led to a physical and physiological shift for me. Lucky for me, I wasn't particularly ill. I didn't take any medications. I didn't really have anything wrong with me that was hardcore. But, it's like annoying little things and things that were starting to potentially become something more severe. And then one of the final pieces of my shift came into play last year, middle of 2020 in June, when I decided to change my lifestyle and eat a clean diet. With that came off 40 pounds by the beginning of November. And all of this during perimenopause and the whole COVID thing. And I lost weight at 50 years old. I also got rid of all my perimenopausal symptoms, which was absolutely fantastic. And I hadn't slept that well in years. So it was a win-win for me. And now I teach people how to do that because it's not just about making changes, eating a clean diet, exercising regularly, thinking differently, changing your behaviors and your habits and your beliefs. But it's also about understanding why we do what we do and having accountability for it. It would be so amazing if we all could be accountable to ourselves, but that is not the case. Never is the case, by the way. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating. That's not necessarily true. It could be the case because there are people that are very good at self accountability. I was not one of them. With certain things, yes, but when it came to changing my lifestyle as far as my eating habits, I just couldn't do it myself. So that is why I chose to work with a program, and now I offer that program. So, but anyway, that's not what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on living longer, live long and prosper. So it's not just about living long these days. We want to have good quality of life. Okay, what's the point of living to be 85, 90, 95 years old if you are in a wheelchair and you are unable to take care of yourself, or you're in a nursing home and you don't even know who you are anymore? And while some of these diseases do affect individuals and we don't fully understand what the primal cause is or the exact cause, we do know that there are contributing factors. And if you can do anything to prevent these diseases or let these diseases come at a much, much later date and be very short-lived, then who wouldn't want to do that, right? So that's the whole point of this. We go through our whole life. We go through our lives, our whole life. We go through our lives thinking we are indestructible and we're younger and we can do and eat and behave any way we want to. And then we get to a certain age and we're very shocked when we get a diagnosis that we're not happy about. And then we don't want to take responsibility for. So I am one person that is very fully accountable for my choices. And so that is, it wasn't really a hard shift for me to do that, but it was a hard shift to, hold on a second. It was a hard shift for me to actually sustain it on my own. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You put in the comments, even if you're watching this after the broadcast, after the live broadcast, it's totally fine. Okay, so here we go. We're going to share my screen now. Yes, yes, yes. It's telling me that I need to have certain things that would make it so much easier for me. So let's get ready to rumble. All right, here we go. So live long and prosper. Okay, so live long and prosper. This is a series. This is my third part. For those of you that missed the first two, actually, I'm going to hold on a second. I am going to stop sharing because I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller here. So let's see if we can get off of this. Come on. Of course, this thing's not. There we go. Okay. Let me get back onto this. Technical difficulties. My apologies. All right. Make it bigger. All right. That should do it. You can see I do this quite often. I really know what I'm doing. It's so flawless. All right. That should work now. Okay. So here we go. So this is part 3. If you missed the first 2 parts, you can go back, check them out. All right. And the goal is to, see the little changes that you can make in your life based on the information that I'm giving you. So I am a teacher at heart. I've been a health science teacher for almost 20 years, teaching post-secondary, so 18 and up. And I taught human anatomy and physiology for years. I taught pathology. I don't teach anymore, at least currently not right now. But I miss it dearly because I am such a nerd and I love teaching this stuff. So any reason to teach it is phenomenal for me. So what are we talking about today? Well, I'm so glad you asked. We're going to talk about movement. Now, we understand that exercise is important for us, right? So, interestingly, years ago when they had the food pyramids, remember the food pyramids? I mean, they have the food pyramids still, but years ago in the US, the food pyramid, it had like the things at the base that you want to eat the most of, and then it would come up like this, and the smallest point was the top stuff was what you wanted to eat the least of, right? And our food pyramid was so screwed up with the way it did its measurements. Interestingly, too, it never mentioned anything about physical fitness. Yet in Europe, their food pyramids always had a person walking. They'd have their pyramid, and then they'd have the person walking up the side to account for physical activity. Well, when we redid our food pyramid a few years back, when the USDA redid the food pyramid, it added exercise. And then they also have their My Plate picture, where you can look at a plate and see what really, what a plate of food is supposed to look like. And so you could see how much of everything that you're supposed to have. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter whether or not we look at that myplate.gov. I think it's myplate.gov. Whether or not we look at the plate, it still doesn't help us understand exactly what we should or shouldn't eat. Okay, so that was a conversation that I had, I believe, on the first session, talking about avoiding inflammatory-based foods. But today we're going to talk about movement. We're going to talk about how important moving is. Okay, and exercise, yes, that's what I was mentioning before, that exercise is really important. We want to have, proper exercise. But I think what we get caught up with in this country is we get caught up with the idea of exercise, that we have to exercise. You have to decide what you consider exercise. So like if exercise means going to the gym or running outside or walking outside, then that's exercise. But let's take the word exercise away for a moment, okay? Because everybody's idea of exercise is different. It could be playing sports. It could be doing a Pilates class, a yoga class. It could be going to the gym and lifting weights. Okay, those are all forms of exercise. But what they really are forms of movement, okay? And when we take the exercise name out, okay, like for instance, children don't exercise, right? Okay, we could say, well, they're in gym class and they exercise. But realistically speaking, children do not exercise. What they do is they just play. They have fun. They move. So even if I'm sitting with my little one and we're doing exercises, she is just having a grand old time. And yes, they could be formal exercise. We could be doing jumping jacks or trying to do sit-ups for her, push-ups or things like that, or because she does online learning full time. So it could be that the teacher gave her this thing to do. Okay. So whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because in the end, she's still moving. And then all of a sudden she'll start doing her own thing anyway. So when we say things like, I don't have time to exercise, it's hard for me to exercise, then don't. How about that? How about you just move? Okay, because in the end, it's your body's responding the same way. Okay, humans are meant to move. You hear what I'm saying? We're meant to move. We are not meant to have a sedentary lifestyle. And we do, especially nowadays. We are not meant to sit in the seat for hours on end. We are not meant to sit in a car for long periods of time. We are not meant to come home and plop on the couch and sit there the rest of the evening. We are meant to move around. Kudos to any office or home office that has the elevated desks, because it's great to be able to stand up. In fact, I love working from a standing position because I just hate sitting for too long. It drives me absolutely crazy. So we are a movable animal, movable species, moving species. We are movable. We're a moving species. Yet our society makes it impossible to move as much as we need to. Or should I say, we make it impossible to move as much as we should. So we are meant to move. And how do we know this? How do we know that we are meant to move? Because there are a lot of health conditions that occur because of sedentary lifestyles. And yes, you might have guessed it, that a lot of the common diseases in developed countries such as the United States fall into that category of diseases that can be prevented with regular exercise or physical movement. Okay, so that being said, let's just go right into it, because I don't want to keep you here long. The benefits of moving, not exercise, just moving. Okay, so first off, before I even talk about this, let's talk about what happens when we move. When we move, okay, if you just start jumping around and dancing around the house and playing with the kids or playing with your dog or going outside and playing sports, What do you notice? You notice that your breath gets faster. You start breathing faster. Your respiratory system, you increase, right? You increase breath in and breath out. Your heart rate goes up, which means that your circulation will increase. Your blood pressure will temporarily increase. You go into what we call a stress response, although you don't necessarily feel stress. It's the same physical response, no matter whether it's a negative stress or positive stress. So your body warms up, your muscles get circulation that they need, you start to sweat, your pupils dilate, and other non-essential programs or systems shut down or minimize, like your digestive system, your reproductive system, your urinary system. And they all let your body do what it needs to do physically. But the interesting thing is that as we move physically, we start circulating fluids in our body, which is really, really important. And when you don't move, you don't circulate those fluids. And this is like really big piece of this. So let's talk about the benefits. The benefits: increases whole body circulation, keeps muscles strong, helps maintain balance, keeps joints healthy, and supports lung tissue. What do I mean by supports lung tissue? It means that if you are breathing, taking bigger breaths in, exercising your lungs are elastic tissue. They stretch. Okay. They stretch and then they spring back. They stretch and they spring back. Guess what happens to elastic tissue when you don't let it move around too much? Just think of a rubber band. What happens to a rubber band when it just sits around for a long time? It gets dry rotted, and you go to move it and you go to use it and it'll just break. Okay. So luckily we're juicy inside, so dry rot isn't really that common. However, we do need to exercise the elastic tissue in our body, which we have an awful lot of elastic tissue. But the other thing too is that surrounding the tubes in the lungs, we have muscles, and those muscles constrict and they contract, and they dilate, and they allow for the changes in the tubes to let air in a lot or prevent air from coming in, but it exercises them. Okay. We know that if you lay around too much, your joints get stiff. We also know that if you do too much, it can also be damaging to your joints. But I promise you, for the majority of the population, they don't do enough. So whenever we start warming up a little bit and we move around, some of our aches and pains go away. Our muscles feel better. They're not as stiff anymore. Why is that? Because it increases circulation. And with increasing circulation, we can bring nutrients to our muscles, and moving keeps our muscles strong. Muscles need to be used, period. You don't use a muscle, it gets weak and it will not be as strong as it should be. That's why, again, sedentary lifestyle, your muscles are not nearly as strong as they need to be. If you ever needed to use them in an emergency, they may not be there for you because you've had such a sedentary lifestyle. And so with that, keeping strong muscles, we keep balance. Okay. Now, benefits of movement also can help detox the body. How does it do this? Well, while we increase circulation, we also increase the fluids overall moving in the body, and the circulation will go through the kidneys, which allow the kidneys to flush things out in the urine, things that are water soluble. So what's happening is it's flushing out toxic stuff or waste product more efficiently. You also can regulate your hormones better. It's just better for all the glands that produce your hormones, especially the ones that are associated with metabolism, especially the ones that are associated with and some sort of energetic source. It improves your mood. How many times have somebody been in an upset mood and then we say to them, oh, just go take a walk, you'll feel better. And you kind of do. And it's with good reason. Oh, hey, Deanna. Dana Evans, Roberts Evans. Sorry, I can't even read. I don't have my glasses on. I'm glad you're here. Glad that you're on. So what happens is that as we move around, we increase our stress response, okay? And it releases certain types of hormones. And then when we are done with our walk or our run, whatever it was that we need to do to calm ourselves down, we go into a compensatory rest and digest state. And when we get there, it causes other hormones to be released and we feel more relaxed. The other thing too is that when we move and we get the blood circulating, we also just circulate more blood to the brain and we sort of think things through a little bit and we calm ourselves down. So it improves mood for sure. Okay. Increases mental clarity and releases happy chemicals. So as we feel good at what we're doing, we made a better choice. Some people say, well, I hate running. Then don't run, just move. I have a 7-year-old and she keeps me moving. She likes to go on the trampoline. She likes to go ride bikes. She likes to go on her scooter. Sometimes we just like to take walks. Sometimes we like to do our hula hoops. Sometimes we go on our hippity bouncy things. Yes, I have one that's adult size. And if you watch my TikTok videos, you'll see it. We will throw the frisbee around or kick the soccer ball. We do things that she likes to do, but gets us moving. Okay. So when I do that, I feel good, and it causes a huge release of happy chemicals like dopamine, serotonin. It increases my adrenaline, and my epinephrine and norepinephrine. It increases oxytocin, bonding chemical. And all of these things make me feel absolutely fantastic. Mental clarity, it has been proven. It has been proven with research to show that mental clarity, apparently I don't have any mental clarity tonight. It's been a long day. Improves with circulation to the brain. In fact, they recommend, meaning the medical profession, recommends that individuals have a certain amount of cardiovascular exercise or movements per day to help decrease the potential of getting dementia, specifically Alzheimer's disease. Okay. So, and we're going to talk about that specifically because I'm going to talk about brain health. So benefits, more benefits. Look at this, just movement now. Remember, we're not exercising, just moving. Could be an exercise, but it's a movement in general. So improved intestinal motility. You constipated? Guess what? You bounce around a little bit and you move around a little bit, you'll get things rocking and rolling. I promise you. Okay. Might have to take a little extra something on the side to get things shifting. But really, people tend to be more regular when they are doing concussive type of movements, at least a little bit during the day. It helps regulate inflammation because of the circulatory element. It's moving fluids through your body instead of letting them stay stagnant. Improves immune function. We could all use that. Movement improves immune function. It keeps us healthy and strong. Also has to do with the circulation element, but when we flush out bad stuff and we allow for the good stuff to come back in its place, it is all about repair. And, the other pieces, it improves sleep. I'll skip that one for a second. I'll skip homeostatic balance. It improves sleep, and sleep is the best time for us to rest and repair. In fact, it triggers the nervous system called the parasympathetic response, which is also coined as the rest and digest system. And I like to say rest and digest and repair because when we're sleeping, that is the greatest amount of repair process that happens in the body. So if you're not sleeping well, you're also not repairing well. And moving can keep you from staying up at night. I mean, it improves your sleep. Helps maintain homeostatic balance, meaning the balance between all your systems in your body so that they do not overwork on one side and underwork on another side. And it burns calories. Just moving burns calories. You don't, again, have to do a formal movement. I mean, I could just sit there and wave my arms like this. We used to play the Wii a lot. And the Wii was so much fun. I'm talking about the Wii Fit because you used to do these stupid things and you'd be dressed as a chicken and, and then you'd be balancing and doing this. And it was like, so much, you weren't even thinking about what you were doing. But I do that anyway because I'm a little crazy and I don't have dress in a chicken suit or anything like that. But I do, like, for no reason, I'll be outside and I will just start flapping my arms or something like that. Whatever I feel like doing, I will do. And luckily I have a small child, so I can blame her and say, oh, I'm just having fun with my kid. It doesn't work when she's not around, and then I can't really blame her. But anyway, people that know me know that that's fine. I do those things. So, like, for instance, these people are squatting. I squat all the time. If I'm standing somewhere and I'm just hanging out, I will start doing squats because I cannot sit still and I don't like to sit still. When my little one would take a bath, when she was younger and I needed, to kill time because I couldn't leave her in there, I would start doing squats in the bathroom. I would start doing sit-ups in the bathroom, push-ups in the bathroom, anything to keep me from just sitting there. All right. Now, more specifically, health benefits to the brain. Again, remember, we're not talking about formal exercise. You don't have to sign up for exercise classes. You don't have to say, oh my God, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Okay, look, you have the money to do this. See, like this. You have the money to do that because it's free. Doesn't cost anything. Make up stuff. Be silly, right? Dance around if you need to. You do not have to do formal exercises. I took yoga. I love yoga, by the way. I'm not in a formal class right now, but that doesn't mean I can't bust my moves out on the kitchen floor or the living room floor, right? So brain health helps maintain existing brain structures, helps slow age-related mental decline, helps recovery from brain injury, helps reduce brain inflammation, and helps lower oxidative stress. Oxidative stress will kill off cells. That's why we take antioxidants to combat what are called free radicals. So all of these things are also, they're benefiting your brain from movement. I want to just see what Dee's talking about here. So, yep, I remember you, Dee. I love taking a break during driving my hot rod Challenger. You go, Dee. Rio to the PO. She names it. Good for you. Turn up the jams and polishing her sparkling clean upper body in sunshine. Yes, exactly. And you can be rocking and, you could drive and dance to the jams, right? And then blame it on the Bluetooth, wear a headset and pretend you are talking to it. Thanks. You know what? Listen, people know me and I don't really care what anybody thinks. So they could, if I make people laugh just because I'm being silly. In fact, I always think back, one of my go-to shows when I'm like, just feel like watching TV and just kind of doing like one of those little zombie, TV, just one after another, binge watching. I couldn't think of the word for a second. One of my shows is Friends, because I remember I was here when Friends came out. Like I was in the thick of Friends when it first came out. I was watching it from day one. And there's one episode where Phoebe is running with Rachel and in the park, and Phoebe's running like this, and Rachel doesn't want to run with her because she's weird and makes Rachel feel uncomfortable. And Phoebe explains to her that, don't you remember when you were a kid and used to run, you didn't care, and you would just run as fast as you could and you didn't care what you looked like. And Rachel finally got off her little high horse and decided that that was a lot of fun. So she did that. I used to be Rachel, and I've been Phoebe for at least a couple of years now. I really don't care what anybody thinks, because I have found this. Most people, when they start watching me move, want to move, especially in a plane. I'll get up in a plane after sitting for an hour. I will get up. I will stand towards the back so I don't bother anybody, and I will start doing my squats. I will start bending. I will start stretching. I will start doing what I can do without hitting anybody. And I find that a lot of people will watch me, and then I'll see them sort of in their seat start moving their head around, which is so funny. So it's addictive, I guess, right? Okay. So benefits to heart health: strengthens the muscular wall. We have the infamous muscular wall of the heart, and the more you use it, it is a muscle, the stronger it gets. I'm here to pump you up. Anybody remember that from Saturday Night Live? Okay. Increases blood flow through the heart, which is very important. Anytime you increase blood flow, when blood stagnates, whether it's in the blood vessels, the arteries specifically, veins too. Anytime it stagnates in the blood vessels or the heart, it increases your risk of blood clots, which increase your risk of, if in the heart, increases your risk of heart attack. And if it's anywhere else in the body, especially if it's heading up towards the brain, increases your risk of stroke. So increased blood flow, less stagnation, less potential for blood clotting, which it says on the bottom of this. Reduces risks of plaques and clots. Helps reduce brain, I left that on there, was a wrong thing. Maintains elasticity of the heart and vessels. That's another problem that occurs as we age. As we age, our blood vessels get stiffer, and as a result, they do not stretch as well as they should, and they don't compress as well as they should. And this is why, quote, we get high blood pressure as we age. Now, again, anybody who exercises regularly or does any type of cardiovascular workouts, movements where their heart rate increases, and they do this on a regular basis, they will prevent this for as long as possible. Okay. So did you know 1 extra hour of light movement per day can make you heart healthy. 1 extra hour of light movement. Now, somebody might say, well, I don't really have an hour to spare. It doesn't have to be an hour straight. It can be an hour total. It would be great if it was an hour straight, but an hour total. And again, you do not have to say, well, I don't have time to go running. I don't have time to go walking. Do you have time to go walking for 15 minutes 4 times in a day? Do you have time to stand next to your desk, away from your desk, and while you're on a phone call or while you're on your Zoom call, maybe turn your video off and do squats, do push-ups, do jumping jacks in your office? You have time for that. You do. You could do leg lifts. You could do anything that gets your muscles moving, that gets your heart pumping up even just a little bit. And this was from a research study. So in 2019, 1 extra hour of light movement per day corresponded to a 14% drop in coronary heart disease risk and an 8% drop in cardiovascular disease risk. Even after adjusting for other moderate or vigorous activity, other studies suggest that just 30 minutes of extra movement per day, and I can't see what's written here, can reduce the risk of early death. So remember the whole point of this series: live long and prosper. Live long, but with a phenomenal quality of life. That's the whole point of this. Why live to be 100 if somebody's just going to prop you up against the wall, or you're going to be laying in bed? If I'm going to live to 100, that's my that's my deal. If I'm going to live to be 100, I want to be physically fit, active. I want my head to be clear, and I want to drive my kids nuts until my very last breath. And I do promise that to them all the time. Okay, so let's get moving. What can we do to move? Well, we could do the traditional stuff. You can walk, you can run, you could jog, you could ride a bike, you could do yoga, you could play a sport. You don't even have to play a sport. You could just do, like, kick the ball around like I do with my daughter. You don't have to actually play soccer. We just kick the ball around. You could play Frisbee. You could play catch with your kids or another adult. Okay. You could dance. We just have dance contests in our household, or we just break out the dancing for no reason. We'll just put a song on. We'll just start moving. That's why I miss my workshops, my in-person workshops. We always did this in my workshops. We would start the workshop dancing. We would randomly dance in the middle of it. Everybody'd have to move. And at the end, we would end with dancing. And you didn't have to know how to dance. You just got to get up and you got to move, and you just got to feel that beat just to get you moving and get you in better spirits. You can hike, you can climb. All right, but you could do these things. You could fold clothes. You could clean the house. You can organize the closets. You can organize your rooms. You can walk and talk on your phone. Play with your kids or play with your grandkids. Work in the garden. You can stretch. You can do squats. You can be silly. You can jump rope. You could stand and jiggle. Sometimes I just do that. I'll stand and I'll just jiggle. And I feel a little bit better about myself because I lost 40 pounds, so I don't have as much jiggle anymore. I still have a little bit of jiggle, so I'm still working on that. But I just like, especially in the wintertime, if I'm outside and I'm a little cold, I jiggle. Climb up and down the stairs, okay? Now, obviously, you're going to do things that are within reason of your, within your ability, okay? So like if your knees and your hips are questionable right now, don't climb up and down stairs. Don't say, well, the lady on the internet said to climb up and down stairs and I fell. Okay. We don't want you to do that. Okay. But understand how amazing the body is. When the body is given it, when you take in the proper nutrients, when you give it the proper amount of rest, when you move, your body has the ability to repair itself, even when you've done some serious damage. Will it repair completely? There's no guarantee, but at least I'd like for my body to try, or at least I'd like to try and let my body do it. So, yeah, see, so Dee's saying, she goes, just with the awareness that you're doing more than what you thought you were. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for example, I go up and down the stairs 100 times a day. Yes, I do too, because my office is in my basement. And then I'm always walking up and down the steps, So, but see, I don't even walk. I'm always running. And my house is long. So I tend to like run from one side to the other, I love doing that. I don't like walking. I'm always like doing that. I like run to the mailbox. So I'm always going. And it's like the end of the night and I'm talking a mile a minute like I had 5 cups of coffee and I didn't even. Okay, so the bottom line is this: just move, just do something. Stop making excuses that I don't feel well, I'm stiff, my back hurts, all of these things. And I didn't even put that as a benefit. It reduces pain. Movement reduces pain. So we could say, well, movement can also increase pain. Yes, it could if you are, if you have scar tissue, if you're damaged, if the things need to repair. Absolutely. But the more you move and not overdo it in the beginning, the better the repair process will be better, and some of that scar tissue might be removed, and some of that damage that maybe repaired improperly could repair itself properly. But I mean, listen, look at these people. They're just jumping around. They're having a good time. You don't have to do formal exercises. Climb a tree. I love a good tree climb. If I could find a tree that's climbable, I will climb it. I've always been that way. I refuse to not be that way, even as an adult. So play Twister. That one's always a lot of fun. But just move, okay? And I want you to start doing this tomorrow. So tomorrow, just figure out when you can do it, and then put yourself on a timer. Put yourself on a 5-minute timer and do it for 5 minutes. And if you still want to do more, then put it on another 5 minutes. And like I said, if you're doing those Zoom calls, put yourself on video for a sec. Close your video out for a second. And if somebody's talking junk to you and saying, well, we need to see you, just say, just a minute. Or put the video back on, say, I'm just doing some exercises, I'm stretching. The reason you don't want to leave the video on is because it can be distracting to other people. I don't know, maybe it'll inspire other people. And Dee's right. Listen to your body. Absolutely. The problem is, Dee, is that most people don't even know what the hell their body's saying. Get up, get off your ass. That's what the body's saying. I'm going to tell you, if you can't understand it, I'm translating it for you. Get off your ass. That's what it's telling you. Move, get the blood circulating. Help me here. Okay. That's what your body's telling you. All right. So listen, I can help you if you have difficulties with this. If you are that individual who is struggling with, self-motivation, self-accountability. Look what I used to look like. That was me at age 30. Let's see. Oh my God. How old was I? I was 37 years old, the prime of my life. And I was huge. And the picture at the bottom is me at 50, almost 51. And that is how I look today. So I know what I'm talking about. I know the bad choices. I know why the bad choices were made. And I know how to fix the choices. Plus, not to mention my, again, tremendous knowledge of science from all the years of teaching. So please, if you are not happy with the way you look, the way you feel, the way your life is going, your mental, your emotional, whatever, set up a 30-day. I was going to set up a 30-day consultation. Man, that is one long-ass free consultation. 30-minute free consultation. And you can easily get my links. And here's my information if you want to work with me. Or just reach out to me if you have a question on anything. I'd love answering questions. So please feel free to reach out to me. And with that, I'm going to, what does it say? Dr. Lee, I invite you to lead dance it out in segments of the April. I would love to, Dee. I am all for, I'm absolutely for that. That has been one of the highlights of what I do, is when I'm doing those really crazy things. And it's funny to do it when I'm in corporate, getting people to get up who've never done that before. Like they just sit at a meeting and a workshop and that's it. But then to get like corporate people doing the chicken dance, or put your right hand in, your right hand, hokey pokey, among other things. So, but we also do some serious, like cool dancing too. Anyway. All right. So for those of you that came on this evening, I really appreciate it. Dee, thanks for coming on. And for those of you, remember, this is your life. Live it. If you're going to live it in a healthy way so that you can enjoy it to the maximum. And with that, the Badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco, saying, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary. Have a great night.